No. All right, so hi everyone, and welcome to the last panel for the OER Rangers. It's going to be a special one. It will be a special discussion on using Indigenous resources. And I want to remind you that we have other Open Education Week events going on today and tomorrow. Check our website for that. I'm just going to post this on the chat. There you go. And next week, we're going to start an amazing webinar series on accessibility, which was created by my colleague, Laura Lopa, and will be delivered by some great Ontarian professionals. All right, so we have 30 minutes, 3 Rangers, and hopefully time for 3 questions. They will discuss their experience with OER, with the OER Rangers program, OER in general, and especially using Indigenous resources in education. So let's start with the land acknowledgements. So the offices of eCampus Ontario are located in downtown Toronto and are within the traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. And we recognize the enduring presence and resilience of Indigenous peoples in this area and acknowledge our responsibility to work towards reconciliation, to respect and care for the land, and seek to seek deeper understanding of the rich cultures and traditions that have long existed here before us. And as some of you know, the OER Rangers program started in September 2023, and it's run. Let me just, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. There you go. And so the as some of you may know, the OER Rangers program started in September 2023, and it's run by eCampus Ontario's Open Library. We had over 200 applicants from 49 institutions in Ontario, and we're standing right now at 80 participants from 47 colleges, universities, and Indigenous institutes. The OER Rangers program aims to raise awareness to OER by capacity building and providing professional development. The Rangers underwent training with the Mastering Open Ed training modules. And let me just post the link here to the press book where you can find it. Okay, and this is a guide to OER created by eCampus Ontario with an amazing team of subject matter experts from Ontario's colleges and universities. And Rangers also deliver sessions to their colleagues about OER. They advocated for policy changes, created new OERs, and basically became a champion to OER inside their institutions. And I'm joined here today by 3 of the Rangers. We have Sarah Riley and Diane Bolton, who are both faculty at the First Nations Technical Institute. And we have Ana Gonzalez, a professor at Seneca Polytechnique as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll try to go over the 3 questions that we have prepared, but do feel free to share your ideas and questions on the chat, and we might be able to discuss it if we do have the time. But so let's start here briefly, and we're going to start alphabetically with Anna, then Diane, and Sarah. And the first question is to briefly introduce yourself, then tell us about your journey as an OER Ranger and your experience working with OER with the Indigenous perspectives. How has the integration of these perspectives influenced your experience in the program and or as an educator?
Well, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm so excited to be here, Leo. Thank you. And thank you to Campus Ontario for making me one of the Rangers. I couldn't believe it. So I'm a professor at Seneca Polytechnique. My major and PhD that I'm on in now is in philosophy, but I also teach Spanish. And because of this wonderful opportunity, I started to know about the resources in OERs in Seneca. So I applied for a grant and I got it to create a new OER for my Spanish course. And also, I'm also doing another OER for my philosophy course, The Meaning of Life. that is a college of different OERs from different institutions. So it's wonderful. Now, and this has influenced me because also I have been choose in my school as one of the curriculum integration persons. So we are working. I have a wonderful team, and we are working to bring Indigenous perspectives and other things into the curriculums of all the courses in Seneca Polytechnic in general. So this is a huge effort. And working with Indigenous people has made me more aware of a bias that is inserted in the colonial perspectives in philosophy, that there is only one point of view, and it is objective knowledge. So I'm trying to give in my philosophy classes, and I put it also in the OER for these classes, equal value to different philosophical perspectives, including the Indigenous knowledge. And in my Spanish classes, it has taken me into a journey to understand how the conquering efforts from Spaniards in America have influenced the British and French colonialism in Canada.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Now, Diane.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Leo said, my name is Diane, and I am a EC faculty member at FNTI. And I too was honored to be chosen to join this journey as an OER Ranger. I was first introduced to OER about 1.5 years ago, and see the value in doing it. So I was excited to be able to share this journey with the rest of the faculty here at FNTI and incorporate these OER resources into some of our courses. I've been working most recently with a focus on Indigenous perspectives in the OER resources and learning more about that. And coming from a settler background, I felt it was important to include these resources for myself so that I could learn more and be able to offer a more well-rounded curriculum. At FNTI. We teach in an Indigenous lens. So this gave me the opportunity to include more diversity in my resources that I could provide the learners, and the resources that would be available all the time rather than having to deal with broken links, which is what was happening. And I know I still have a lot to learn, but these resources have provided me a way to transform my approach to locating and incorporating the diverse opportunities for students to engage with the knowledge.
Thank you. That's great. Now, Sarah.
Now all of a sudden I'm going to cough. Thank you again for having me. Yeah, it has been a journey, that's for sure, and a learning experience to be a part of the OER Ranger program. It was nice that we had a few of us from FNTI join in this program, which was really, important for us as a team and as educational facility. So I work full-time as a faculty for FNTI. But before I should introduce myself. So Buzhum, Indigika, Ambamasad, Indigikas, Ndudum, Bear Clan, Six Nations, and Dujaba. So what I just said was, my name is Sarah Riley. I'm from Bear Clan, Six Nations. And so what really through the Indigenous part of this program, which is really great, that there are a lot of resources on the Open Library that already exist and that have been validated. Using Indigenous content is important, that it is true and true to content, true to that you make sure that is correct knowledge, because you don't just want to use anything. So that it's already there and exists helps for us as educators, not only time, money spent as a college, being able to use those resources and have them available for students to use as well. So what I was be able to do is focusing on weaving that Indigenous perspectives into our educational materials that we already have. And I felt that being part of this journey has been enlightening to me and transformative for not just myself, but for the educational community that I am a part of. And so it was a real learning experience too, with learning different digital, like having all of the H5P and all, you know, press books, everything available, and being able to use that through an Indigenous lens, because that's what we teach through. So yeah, that's basically, it's just been a good path for continuous learning and collaboration with other Indigenous communities and other educational communities.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, no, yeah, it's been a great collaboration with the First Nations Technical Institutes, both of you and Diane, and also Jay Lomax, who's not here today. But he's just not physically here. It's not that anything happened to him. But yeah, it's been so great to collaborate with all of you and see how we can start providing some more ways to introduce Indigenous perspectives to OER and education in general. So thank you for that. And so our next question is, from your perspective, what approaches have been most effective in respectfully engaging with and incorporating Indigenous knowledge and perspectives with your community or institutions' OER initiatives, or simply just incorporating resources with Indigenous knowledge and perspectives in education in general, not only on OER. So let's start with Diane on this one, and then it will be Sarah and Anna.
Thank you, Leo. From my perspective, OER initiatives have allowed me to engage with the material, not only with material, but with my coworkers, to research and locate appropriate Indigenous resources for incorporation into our course delivery. I believe it's allowed me to have the opportunity to access Indigenous knowledge and build the relationship with our cultural advisor in our program delivery. So in each of our classes, we have a cultural advisor who delivers the Indigenous content. And this has allowed me to be able to share with them some of the background, some of the things that I can find in OER, in the open library. And that allows me to know that it's valid and relevant to our content. I've been able to access the information and then reach out to that cultural advisor and inquire about the validity of it and the how well it can connect into our own course deliveries. As a settler, I always feel it's not my place to share the knowledge, but knowing that it's come from the open library and it's already been tested and true, and we know that where the permissions have come from, that it's okay to share it with the learners, and to know that it's okay to share this knowledge that's been shared into the open library, and know that the credit is being given to where it needs to go.
Thank you. Sarah?
Okay, thank you. So for me, it requires like a thoughtful, respectful, collaborative approach. And what I mean by that, like there's certain components that really stood out to me, with a community engagement, collaboration, co-creation of resources, also cultural sensitivity and awareness, the use of Indigenous pedagogies and practices, ensuring that representation and diversity is there, ongoing evaluation and feedback, and being able to use that with the resources that are available through Open Library, the advocacy and support for Indigenous rights. So all of these things, these approaches, grounded in respect and collaboration, and then just the genuine commitment and understanding, you know, having that Indigenous knowledge, and those are already there and readily available to us. So it's not only enriches the educational landscape, but also contributes to an inclusive and respectful, holistic understanding of our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, Anna.
Yes, so Seneca Polytechnic has a lot of commitment with Indigenous people. We have a building that is called First Peoples. It's called Dato, where you can go at any time and talk with one of the elders, like Elder Blue. She has taught me so much. Also, we have created this wonderful resource they have created. I haven't done anything, just reading it. That is coding. I have put the link in the chat. That is a wonderful resource. I studied it when I did a course on coding with them, and it takes a lot. It gives a lot of information about Indigenous teaching, about the situation with Canada and Truth and Reconciliation and the residential schools. So. And then one of the things that they did during this period that I really loved was because we are with this project of the curriculum integration. The Truth and Reconciliation Office organized a meeting in the Red Tape Brewery, who is the only brewery in Toronto who is I'm going to write the name in case you. The beer is wonderful, who is owned by Indigenous people. And what we had to do was to prepare our pitch about how are we going to introduce truth and reconciliation content into our curriculum. So it was a really wonderful time to share with our colleagues and also Indigenous people who work there and see if our ideas were good enough. And I got lots of ideas. So I think this kind of informal gatherings can help a lot to foster a community of respect and learning.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, and thank you for sharing these resources with us. So now let's move on to our last question. We're going to do Sarah, Anna, and then Diane. And the last question is, reflecting on your time with the OER Rangers program and as an educator, what insights can you offer about fostering respectful and effective collaborations that center Indigenous knowledge in OER development? How do you envision these collaborative efforts evolving to deepen the integration and impact of Indigenous perspectives in education? And again, here I say OER development, but in development of educational resources in general. So first, please, Sarah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, when you're looking at this, it's building genuine partnerships. I see this for us as for FNTI as a foundation of any like successful collaborations involving Indigenous knowledge and being able to make those genuine partnerships. And so thinking about that with the future vision. So I envision like these partnerships evolving into long-term more relationships that extend beyond projects, right? So with that, recognizing and addressing power imbalances through Indigenous communities, I feel that is like a critical aspect of respectful collaboration, acknowledging and addressing those imbalances within the educational resources and also emphasizing cultural competency and sensitivity, which is really, a big part. Like there is a lot of Indigenous content on OER that I still haven't even been able to get into everything, right? And Jay certainly has huge lists of really awesome, like being resources for us to use as part of our college, and that we incorporated into what we did is made a course for our staff to take. So having that, having the educators and OER developers engaged in ongoing learning about culture and the history of Indigenous people, which I see is very important. And then just leveraging technology to enhance accessibility and engagement for our students and staff, administration, right? So we're really looking to make this aware to our whole community and to all of our staff. Committing to long-term sustainability. So requiring a commitment to long-term support and funding for Indigenous led education initiatives. I see that also as a part of it. And just integrating the Indigenous knowledge into OER development is a continuous learning and reflection and growth. So just by fostering respect, and I really see that if then all of the resources that I have been able to view and use already in my programming. So just thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Anna?
Seneca Polytechnic launched that is a plan for the next 3 years or 4, that is about putting in all the curriculum sustainability, truth and reconciliation, and EDI. So as part of the team who is working on this, one of the things that we have to look at is at the outline, because what happens when a new professor arrives and they only have 2 days to prepare the course. They look at the outline. If in the outline there are nothing about this, they don't cover it. So one of the things we have to do is to work on the outlines to really put these contents, including truth and reconciliation, as part of it. And I think that's going to be a wonderful work for me. I'm so happy to be part of it. So this is one of the things. The other is I'm developing my own OER. So in those, there is going to be explicit content about truth and reconciliation. One of them is the relationship between Hannah Arendt critique of why people allow for this kind of things happened, that she developed when she related to the Nazis, and this related to why the residential schools happened here so long and nobody stopped it, and also about the colonization in a Spanish class. And then on a more personal level, I'm very interested in the cultural safety for Indigenous people, because this is my college here mentioned cultural awareness and cultural sensitivity. Cultural safety is like the first step. And I'm gonna copy a link here for an article about this. It was developed by health professionals. And I just want to read: actively practicing cultural safety requires shifting the gaze away from Indigenous people's cultural differences and practices towards one's own belief, practices, and histories, and how these impact Indigenous people. Cultural safety training helps practitioners see the impact of their own social, political, and historical contexts on their practices. Because all of these, what they discover with the research is that because of this bias, because of your historical beliefs and your knowledge, the medical professionals were treating worse people who were Indigenous than people who were not. So to look at our own, that's my personal journey, to see where I have bias and I'm not allowing for creating this safe classroom.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you for mentioning Hannah Arendt as well. I remember reading during my bachelor's The Origins of Totalitarianism, and it really stuck to me, the idea of how we can expand this idea of like how could we let these things happen, and this is very proper for a discussion here. So now, last but definitely not least, Diane.
Thank you. So what I gained from this was that the OER development, when they're developed, their permissions are given. So it's making sure that those permissions, for me, it's about knowing that we're giving the permission, it's required to share this knowledge, and knowing that many of the Indigenous knowledge keepers share their knowledge orally. This was very important, so that proper credit was given each time. So knowing the difference, so going through that master Mastering Open Ed licensing, the course that we took, and
Mhm.
knowing about the licensing and how the licenses work, it made it better for me, and it's shared with learners no matter what program they're enrolled in. I envision that these collaborative efforts moving forward will allow more knowledge keepers to feel comfortable to share their knowledge, and comfortable and safe to share that information, knowing that the credit will be given to them rather than people taking the credit for that knowledge, and knowing that they're able to integrate the Indigenous perspective seamlessly into the Western education system, because that's what we try to do at FNTI. We follow the Canada programming, but teaching it in the Indigenous lens and making sure that all of the information that we're sharing is permissions have been given, and we're providing the credit for that. Through these OER initiatives, I feel that we can continue to develop these conversations and foster respectful and effective collaborations with our Indigenous community.
All right, thank you, Dan, so much. I just shared a link to the Local Contexts website where they talk about the traditional knowledge labels, and it was very fitting for you to mention about permission and licensing in general, because this is a way to try and get both worlds together and protect legally the Indigenous knowledge. And this is something that the Open Library is starting to implement now, the use of traditional knowledge labels. People can already add them, but they're not yet being displayed at the Open Library website, but this is going to come in the near future. And I just wanted to thank you so much for coming here and having this discussion, which is a very important one, both in terms of the education and how we use and introduce Indigenous knowledge inside of our discussions inside of the classes. And this is the last panel discussion for the OER Rangers, officially the last day, the last event for the OER Rangers. So I want to thank you, the three of you, so much, and everyone else who was involved in the program. There's been so much more awareness of OER since you started this program, and this is all because of your effort and your putting your heart into this idea that we want to have more people having access to resources that are accessible to everyone. And so thank you, everyone. Before I finish, I just wanted to mention that we have an Open Library survey going on right now, where we're asking some feedback about our services to you. So please go and fill that. And also, we still have a few Open Education Week events going on. We have one starting at 1:30 today about OERs and international students, which is going to be really interesting. And tomorrow we have another event as well. So go to our website and have a look there. And once again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It was amazing getting to know you and having this moment with you. So goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.